Hello friends, we will now see how we can place orders using the MT5 API. So for that, you will have to come to the order send section of this documentation. And again, it's a fairly straightforward API. All that we'll have to use is order underscore send function. But a very important thing about this function is that it takes in this parameter called request. And this request looks something like this. So it's a dictionary, and then you would have to provide values based on the type of order that you want to place. So let me take you back to the start of this documentation, and let us first look at some of the important fields that go into your request dictionary, like action, symbol, etc. Most of these make complete intuitive sense, but some of these could be tricky, and I'll spend some time explaining what we have to do. Alright, so action is the trading operation, whether you want to buy or sell. And again, you can't just provide a string value like BUY or SELL. It's actually an MT5 variable that you will have to use. So if I click on this trade request actions, you will see that these are all the actions that you can place. We have objects called trade action deal, trade action pending, blah, 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 blah. So most of the times you'll be placing a market or a limit order. So this trade action deal pertains to a market order, and this trade action pending pertains to a pending order. So we'll see both deal types in this lecture video. And if you want to explore further, you can try other request actions as well. But right now we'll limit ourselves to a market and a pending order. So these are the two trade request action variables that we would need. So let us go back to the documentation. So this is fine. This would not change for either limit or market orders. That's fine. Don't worry about magic. We don't need that right now. Even this is not required. So symbol, definitely you will have to pass within the request dictionary. Otherwise, MT5 would not know for which symbol or for which currency pair you want to place a trade. Volume, we discussed it in one of the previous lecture videos wherein we tried placing orders using the MT5 terminal. So volume is a multiple of 10 to the power 5. So if your volume is 0.01, it actually means 1000. Alright, so lot size is 10 to the power 5 in MT5. So just be mindful of that when you place the volume information. Then we have to mention price, and this is where I find MT5 a bit strange. So even if you are placing a market order, you would still have to mention a price. So this is the price at which the order should be executed. If you are placing a limit order, then definitely you would need to mention this price. But if you are placing a market order, for some symbols, even for market order, you would have to provide the price. And that's a bit strange because this is the first time I am seeing that for market price, you may have to provide the price. But don't worry about it. MT5 gives you the right tools so that you should be able to get the current market price, and you can use that in your order to get the fill. And we'll see that how to do that in a bit. Alright, so price is taken care of. So these are some of the important attributes that you need to use when placing an order. Just a few other important attributes. Type, order type, whether it's a buy or a sell. So this buy, this sell, these would be market orders. These orders would pertain to limit order. So depending on what kind of order you want to place, you would have to choose the right class variable. Alright, type filling, order type filling, this we can keep static or we can go with the default value. So this order type filling means once you place an order, what kind of filling protocol you want. Do you want fill or kill? Which means that if your entire order is not filled instantaneously, the order would be killed. Or do you want immediate or cancel? Or you want a regular order, which most of us use, which means that as and when you get a matching order, you would get the fill and the remaining order would stay open. So I think by default, the order type filling is order filling return. So we'll go with that. If you want to specifically mention that, you can do that. Otherwise, you can leave it blank, and the order type filling would be order filling return. Then order type time, again, by default, I think it is good till cancel, which means your order would be live until you explicitly cancel it. Or you can go with order time day, which means your order would only be live for 1 day. Or you can use some of the others order type time that they have defined. Alright, so these are all the things that we need to construct a request dictionary, which is then passed to order_send function. And here they have also provided a sample code. So I'm not going to use the whole thing. Let me just copy the sample request that they have given. Alright, because I don't want to do all this typing. So let me copy paste this and let me call it place order. And this is a request. So what all would change here? So action, MT5 trade action deal. So this is for market order. So right now we want to place a market order. So this is fine. Symbol. So what I'm going to do is that I'll create some kind of a function and I'll call it define limit order or something like that. Okay. And then we will be passing the symbol. Let me indent it. So we'll pass the symbol. So this will be taken care of. Volume. Yeah. Lot. So let me call it wall. So this would be wall. Type, order type, buy or sell, depending on what you want to do. So right now I want to show you order type buy. Position I don't really need. So let me remove this. Price, let us try to place an order I want to place a market order. Why do I have it written as limit? Because this trade action deal pertains to market order. So price, let me try to place one without this price. Let me see what happens. Deviation, we don't need. Magic, we don't need. Comment, we don't need. So let me remove all this. And this is it. So all that we'll have to do is provide the symbol and the volume, and we'll see whether the order goes through or not. But I have not actually placed the order. So the API is MT5.orderSend. And here we'll have to pass request. And another thing is that once you place this order, the server sends you back some information. So once you place this order, the MT5 server does send you back a message whether the order went through or not. So we want to store this to see what happened. So let me call it order status. And then what we'll do is that we will return the order status. Alright, so this is the first version of the function that I want to place. So let me run this. And now let me copy this. Let me paste it here. And then for symbol, let us do USD CAD. And then volume, let us go with 0.03 or something like that. So I've already established this connection, so I'm not going to rerun this part of the code. What I'm going to do is that I am going to run this function, and then I'm going to run this, and let's see what we get in return. So you see that we have got an entire response, and within this response, you want to see the comment. So what does the comment say? Auto trading is disabled by client. Alright, and when you install MT5 for the first time, this auto trading is by default disabled. So to enable it, what you'll have to do is go to the Tools tab within MT5 Terminal, go to Options, and here you'll see a number of tabs. Go to Expert Advisors, and here it says Allow Algorithmic Trading. So make sure that you check this. And then if you do OK, now you are allowed to do algorithmic trading, which means you are allowed to place orders using the API. So just make sure that you turn that on. So now what will happen? Now if I run this, let's see whether we are able to place the order or not. So you see here, the comment is saying invalid price. So in this case, even though it's a market order, I will have to supply the price. And that's really strange, but I'll tell you what's the way to go about it. So MT5 does have an API call which gives you the current ask price. So once you place the market order, whichever is the best price that you can get, you will get it, right? So we are able to access those prices. So that's pretty good. And then here I will do MT5.symbol infotech, and then we'll have to pass the symbol. But this will give me the entire dictionary. I don't want that. I only want the ask price. So let me quickly check whether this is working or not. So let me hard code it to USD CAD. And if I run this, let's see whether we get a price or not. Yeah, it is working. So right now, the ask price for USD CAD trade is 1.35985. Alright, so this would work. Let me move it back to symbol. Alright, so let me give a comma here. And I think now we should be able to place this trade. Let us see what happens. Alright, so it says that the request is executed. Let us go to our MT5 terminal and see whether this order is being reflected or not. And sure enough, you can see that the USD CAD position is now there. Because it was a market order, you can see that this order has already been placed. I've got a fill, and therefore you can see that I've started getting profit and loss. There are some orders that I placed which have not been filled, and you can see that those are mentioned as placed. Alright, so these are the orders and these are the positions. And you can get all this information within the trade tab of your MT5. Alright, let's quickly make a few changes to my function. I also want to allow users of this function to mention whether they want to buy or sell. This value would be a string. You can mention buy or sell or whatever, capital B, small b, I don't care. I would put in a logic that would take care of this particular input. So if buy, sell, I'm going to capitalize it. So I hope you know what the capitalize function does in Python. It takes whatever is the first character of a string and capitalizes it. So whatever is a string that the user gives, I'll capitalize it and then I'll take the first character. So if this is equal to capital B, then I'll create a variable called type. No, I don't think we should use type because this is a Python keyword. So let me call it direction or something like that. So direction is equal to MT5 order type by, else direction is equal to MT5 order type sell. I don't know why I placed colons here, so sorry. Let me remove that. And here I'm going to use this variable for type. And we can keep type time and type filling as hard-coded, good till cancel, and order filling return is perfectly fine. So this is the market order. Let us quickly copy this and let us quickly also see a limit order, right? So let me place this here. Let me call this a limit order. So the only thing that needs to change here, not the only thing, a couple of things will have to change. First of all, this action would change. It would not be trade action deal. If you recall, it would now be trade action pending, alright? Trade action pending pertains to pending order. So that's one thing we'll have to change. Price, if you are placing a limit order, you would never want to place it at the market price. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to allow users to add another argument, and let me call it pips away or something like that. So all that you'll have to do is mention how many pips away you want to place the order. So 5 pips, 6 pips, whatever. And that is how the order would be placed. Now you may ask me, hey, this looks like a complicated thing because different currencies have different pips. Like USD JPY would have a higher pip compared to USD Euro. So how do we get around that? Well, MT5 does provide us an API call using which we can find the actual pip value for each currency. Let us quickly check for MT5 dot symbol info USD Euro, USD CAD and then dot point. Okay, so if I run this line of code, you can see that I'm getting 1e to power minus 5. That means 10 to power minus 5. So if we multiply it by 10, we get 0.0001, which, as we have discussed already, is the pip unit for pretty much all the major currencies, except JPY. So if I do USD JPY, let us see what is the point value for that. It would be bigger than this for sure. So you can see that it is 0.001. So 1 pip for USD JPY would be 10 times that. So it would be 0.01. Alright. So what I'll do here is that I will also create this price variable here. So if it is a buy, then I'll take this point value for this given symbol. Okay, so I'll change that with symbol and then I'll multiply it with 10. So this would give me the pip for this particular symbol. And then I will multiply it with pips away. Actually, you know what? This is getting a bit hairy. So let me make it a bit easier for you to understand. So let us first calculate the pip unit for this variable. So this is the pip unit, right? 10 times the point value. So now we've got the pip unit. So what price do we want? I want the present ask price plus 5 pips, 6 pips, 7 pips, whatever. So plus however many pips you want to be away from this times pip unit, right? So this is what I'll do for price here, and I'll copy this. If I'm trying to sell, then I would be quoting this number of pips below the prevailing market price. All right. And here I would make price is equal to price. All right. So this should take care of the limit order. So let me quickly check that. So all that I'll have to do is run this and then let me copy this. Limit order, same thing, USD CAD 0.03. Whether we want to buy or sell, we want to buy. And again, I can write small b, capital B, doesn't matter because I've already provisioned for it to be handled here. And then pips away, I want 6 pips away. So whatever is the price right now for USD CAD, I want to place a buy order 0.0006 points away from there. Alright, so let me quickly run this and see what happens. Okay, so I've got an invalid request error. So I don't know what I have done here. Let me quickly check it. Okay, so one thing that I screwed up is that for buy, the price has to be lower than the market. Otherwise, it would get instantaneously filled. And this one would be higher than the market. Is that why I'm getting the error? Let me quickly check that. No, not really. Oops, I figured out what I did. So if you recall, earlier in the lecture video, we discussed that this order type will have to change based on whether it's a limit or a market order. So right now, the direction that we are using, order type buy, is for market order. If you don't believe me, let me take you back to the documentation. If you go to order send, you see order type. So we have order type buy, order type sell, and then we have order type buy limit and order type sell limit. So we'll have to use this. So with these MT5 class variables, you would have to be a bit careful. So just be mindful of that. Okay, so this time I think I should be able to place the trade. Success. Request executed. Let us go to our terminal and see what happened. You can see that I have a USD CAD in the pending order part of this tab. So you can see that the USD CAD is 1.3596 around that. So we placed an order which is 6 pips. It would be, you just subtract 0.0006 from this and you would see that this is what you would get. Again, the price is changing quite rapidly, but you see that this is the price which is 6 pips away from whatever was the ask price at the time that we placed this order. So you can confirm this. Alright, so this was all about placing orders, both market and limit order. Thanks a lot. Hello friends. I hope that we have gained a thorough understanding about placing simple orders like market order and limit order using MT5's Python API. I want to discuss a slightly more advanced order type called bracket orders. So essentially what happens in bracket order is that at the time of placing the order, you want to specify what is going to be your stop loss level and what is going to be your take profit level, both the opening and the closing bracket. And this order type is quite popular amongst forex traders because it helps them manage risk. At the outset, the traders are able to define what is going to be their stop loss and take profit level for each order, and that helps them with their P&L visibility. So placing stop loss order is very straightforward. All that you'll have to do is make slight modification to the existing order functions that we have created. But first, let me take you to your documentation, right? So we are back at the order send page of your documentation. And if you look at all the fields that are available to you that you can pass as an argument to order send, you will see that there is SL and TP, stop loss and take profit. One important thing to note is that this SL and TP are the absolute prices and not pips. So you can't say that, hey, my stop loss is going to be 20 pips away from the order price, or my take profit is going to be 40 pips away from my current price. You have to actually mention a price. So for example, if you're placing an order for USD JPY and the current price is 100, then your stop loss would be something like 99.5 and your take profit would be something like 101. Alright, so that's very important to keep in mind, is that these are absolute prices and not pips. And if you want to use pips, all that you'll have to do is make some minor modification to the function and you should be able to achieve this as well. So let us go back to our code and try to implement the bracket order. Alright, so you can convert either your market order or your limit order to bracket order. I leave that to you, which one you want to convert. So let me use the market order to convert it. And let me call it place bracket order. So obviously you will have to have a stop loss and a take profit here. Actually, let me make it more descriptive and let me call it SL price and TP price. Alright, and nothing really needs to change here. All that you'll have to do is add an SL value in the result dictionary. So this would be SL price. Likewise, you will have to add a TP value. So this would be TP price. As simple as that. And if you want to make the function name more explicit, you can change this to place basket order market or something like that, because we can do the same thing for limit order as well. But I leave that to you. It's very straightforward. And we are going to use a function like this in the strategy that we will implement, because if you recall, in the strategy, we are going to come up with things like support and resistance, which we'll use as stop loss and take profit. So when we are implementing that strategy, a function like this would be fairly useful because you would already have the support and resistance price. So all that you'll have to do is pass that information for SL and TP and you should be done. But sometimes you may want to modify this function if you want to follow certain rules pertaining to stop loss and take profit. So for example, some people want to have 1:2 ratio between stop loss and take profit. So you can implement those rules here very easily based on the support and resistance prices that you are feeding into this function. We will do all that once we are actually deploying our backtested trading strategy. But right now, I just want to give you a quick demo of placing the bracket order by providing the stop loss and take profit price. Alright, so let me quickly run this place bracket order and then let me try to place an order. Okay, let us place for USD CAD volume 1 buy sell buy. Let us check out what is the USD CAD price right now. Alright, so it is 1.3327. So let me have my stop loss price as 1.3317, 10 pips away, and take profit as 1.3347, 20 pips away. And let me place this function and let's see what happens. And nothing really happened. Why is that? Do I need to change this to float? Oh, looks like that was the reason. I think this volume needs to be float. Let us confirm that from the documentation. So it doesn't clarify here what is the data type, but when I look into the documentation, it's always in a float format, so that's why I changed it. Okay, so good to know that this needs to be in float. So let us quickly go and check the actual order that's placed. And obviously, because this was a market order, this got filled straight away. And you can see that the stop loss is exactly what we wanted, and so is the take profit. Let me do one more thing. Let me create another function called placed bracket order pips. Okay, so in this function, we'll provide stop loss and take profit in terms of pips. So let me call this SL pip and this as TP pip. So this would be things like 10, 20, 15, whatever. So because we are working with pip, we would need to know the exact pip unit for each symbol. So we had already done that for the limit order. So let me copy this pip unit command and let me paste it here. So now we have the pip unit for this given symbol. So now all that we'll have to do is calculate the stop loss price based on the SL pip and the pip unit, right? So in case of a buy, the stop loss would be price minus SL pip into pip unit. Take profit would be price plus pip unit times SL pip. Sorry, this would be TP pip. And let me copy these 2 lines of code and put it here. For sell, this would change. So stop loss in this case would be plus and take profit would be minus. Okay, and here it would be SL and TP. Okay, so this looks like this will work. So let me quickly run this and let us quickly test this particular function as well. Do we want to do it for USD CAD? Let me do it for GBP USD this time. Volume once again is 1.0. Let's go with sell this time. And then SL pip I want 20 and take profit I want 40. Let us see if this goes through or do we need to make any changes to the function. Okay, request executed. Let us see what we got. So the stop loss is 20 pips above it because it's a sell order. So that makes sense. And the take profit is 40 pips below it. So this is doing what it is supposed to do. Alright, so I hope you got a good understanding of how to place bracket orders, both using pip notation or absolute price notation. When we are actually deploying our code, you will see that I might make some changes to these functions based on the rules that I have for my strategy. But the basic architecture and the functioning of these orders should remain the same. Alright, so let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Hello friends. In this lecture video, we'll see how we can close out existing positions. In the previous lecture video, we discussed how we can put in stop loss and take profit so that our exit criteria is well defined. However, there may be instances where you may not want to wait till the stop loss or take profit is triggered, and that there are certain trading rules within your strategy that warrants you exiting a given trade position. So how to do that? So first of all, let me take you to MT5 Terminal. So you see that we have these 2 positions that we initiated in the previous lecture video. So you can either enter an offsetting trade. So for example, here we sold one position. We can buy one position and this would close off this particular position. Although this trade is not a good candidate for that because it has stop loss and take profit. So once this price is reached, it will again send out a buy position. So when you have stop loss or take profit embedded within a position, putting in an offsetting trade may not be the best option to close it. However, if you have a naked sell or a buy position, then you can very easily enter an offsetting position to square off your exposure. However, how do we close off positions like this, which have stop loss and take profit embedded? So on the MT5 terminal, you see this option here. It says close. Alright, so if I click on this, it will close this position. So let me show that to you. Okay, and you can see that the position was closed off. If I go to my history, you will see that the GBP USD was closed off. Alright, and how can I do the same thing using the API? So it's very straightforward and you will not find that in a documentation because they have not included it in their documentation. I was able to find it by going through their exhaustive MT5 document, which is a 300-page PDF book. But that's fine. Since I know it, you know it as well. So all that you'll have to do is use the close function, mt5.close. And you see, it asks for symbol, comment, and ticket. So let me look at the doc string. There is no documentation available. All it is asking for is the symbol, then comment and ticket. If you want, you can give. Otherwise, don't give. So I tested this particular function and all that you have to do is give the symbol and it will do the job. So let's say I want to close this position USD CAD. So I would do something like this. And when I'll run this, you will see that it closed off the position. If I go to history, USD CAD is closed off. Okay. So let me do one more thing. Let me place a few USD CAD orders. Okay. So let me place 2 orders. Okay, I'm getting this error recode request because maybe my stop loss and take profit are all over the place. So let me fix the stop loss and take profit. So right now it's 1.3336. So 1.33306. Let me make this 1.3400. Okay, so this should work. Okay, request executed. Let me place another trade, 0.3, and let me change this as well, 1.3316 and 1.3490. Okay, request executed. So you see that we have these two positions here. So if I run this command, it will close off both those positions. So let me check it out. As expected. But what if you want to close out only one position? How do we do that? So in that case, it allows you to provide the ticket information. So let me again place this order, two orders actually. Okay. So you see this ticket number? We can close out this specific ticket. So let us test it. So MT5 close. So symbol is USD CAD ticket. I don't know if it is numeric or string. And I don't think I can copy this. Can I copy this by any chance? I can't. So I'll have to write it down. So 5098 2547458. So let's see if this works or not. Looks like it worked. And you can see that we were able to close out the exact ticket. Alright, so this is a very useful and fairly convenient API to close off positions. You will not find this in the documentation, so you can always thank me. But you will see that I will be using this a lot in my strategy, so it's going to be very useful. Hello friends, we are now close to implementing a strategy that we have already seen. But before that, I want to spend some time on discussing a few more API calls that are useful when you are implementing a strategy. And those API calls are getting your position details and getting your order details. Because any strategy that you're implementing, before you place an order based on any signal or any strategy that you have, it's always a good idea to be mindful of what your positions are and what your open orders are. Because if you are not mindful of this information, you run the risk of placing duplicate orders or, having unintentional positions or things like that. So in this lecture video, we'll quickly see how we can get that information. And let me give you a heads up. It's fairly simple API that MT5 provides to get that information. So let me take you back to the documentation. Alright, and here for position, this is the API called positions_get. And once again, it's a fairly simple API call. All that you have to do is use MT5.positions_get. It's a function call, and this would give us all your positions. If you are interested to know only the position for a given symbol, you can pass that symbol as an argument to this function. But typically, we go with the entire position, so that is what I'm going to show you. So let us go back to the code. Alright, so I've already established the connection before starting to record this video, so we don't need to reestablish the connection. So positions is equal to MT5 dot positions_get. Alright, and let me run this line and let's see what we get. Okay, so you can see that we have got a tuple and we have got 5 positions, which is consistent with what I have here. You can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions in my MT5 demo account, and that is what it has got. So let me run this and let me see what we get here. So you can see that although we have got the information, it doesn't look very nice. It's not very seemly. So you can see that we have a tuple, and this is the start of the tuple. This is the first value, okay? Everything before the comma, first value in the tuple. Then this is the second value of the tuple, and so on and so forth. The data structure that they have used is tuple. It's a fairly efficient data structure. If you want to quickly access some information, you can do that. It's a Python native data structure. But again, I am going to convert it into a data frame because that's what we have been using for a long time and I want to keep things consistent. Okay, so let's quickly convert it to a data frame. Okay, I don't think I have imported Panda, so let me quickly do that. Okay, so if I run this, So it looks like it does convert it into a data frame. So what are all these numbers here? Let's see what information we are getting. So you can see that for any position, we are getting the ticket. This is the identifier that MT5 uses. That's fine. Then we have a time. Then we have time MSC, time update, time, too many times. Maybe we don't need all these times. All we need is the time at which the position was taken. So I'm going to go with this time. I might delete all these other time columns. Then we have other information, for example, volume, price, things like that, symbol. So these are the ones I want to retain. So let me do something. Let me define a function, get positions. And then what we'll do is that within this function, we'll first get the position tuple, and then we'll start converting it into a data frame. Again, we'll have to do some post-processing because you can see that our time here is in seconds. And if you recall the lecture video from the historical data, we don't like this time format. We want to convert it into something that we can comprehend. Before that, it's very important that you first check whether you have a position or not. So if you don't have any position, for example, if your position variable returns a blank tuple, you might get an error if you want to do any processing on that. So we'll do all this only when we have some position. So let us put a qualifier here. If length of positions is greater than 0, only then do all these steps. So length positions right now would be 5 in tuple, whatever number of elements you have, separated by comma. That's the length. And let me call it position underscore df. Okay, so let me run position underscore df and let me see what we get here. If I open position df, okay, so we have got a data frame, but we don't know what are the column names. All right, so how do we get around this problem? So an easy way to get around this problem is to get these column names from the tuple. So these are the column names: ticket, time, time MSC, whatever. And an easy way to get these columns is to convert this tuple that you have positions into a dictionary. So for example, if I do positions 0, this would give me the first element of the tuple. Alright, so we have got that. Now I want to convert it into a dictionary. So to do that, you can use the function as dict. Let me see if this is the correct function. Yeah. So Python allows you to convert into dictionary by using this operator underscore as dict. So now you've got the same tuple that you had in form of a dictionary, and we all know how to get the list of keys from a Python dictionary. All that you'll have to do is use dot keys, and this is the function. So if I run this, you can see that now we have got the column names or the keys of every single dictionary that we have in the positions tuple as a list. And now we can very easily use that as the column of my data frame. So let's do that. So PD data frame and then columns rather. This is the argument that you have to pass in data frame to pass the columns. Let me copy this whole thing. Okay, so if I run this now, let's see what happens. So now we have got the data frame with the column names. So this is looking much better. Then the next thing we want to do is to convert this time stamp into date time. So again, we have done this before. So all that I'll do is position df dot time is equal to pandas to date time. Let's pass the same column that we want to convert. And then if you recall, we have to tell pandas what is the unit of the input column. So in this case, these are Unix timestamps, which is in seconds. So we have to mention that. So if I run this and then I open position df, you can see that now we have got the time in the format that we want. All right, so that's great. And now I would want to delete these columns. And that's very straightforward. You can do that using the drop command. So position df dot drop, and then all the columns that you want to drop. So it would be time MSC, time update MSC. So let me copy it and let me paste it here. And then in pandas, whenever you are dropping a column, you have to tell pandas whether the axis is 0 or axis is 1. if you don't mention axis is equal to 1, it will assume that these are row indices. So you have to explicitly mention that axis is equal to 1. By default, pandas assume that axis is equal to 0, which means it will look for these indices in the rows. And then you will get an error that pandas is unable to find these indices. So make sure that you mention axis is equal to 1, which means that these are actually columns that you're trying to drop and not rows. And then don't forget to use in place is equal to true. Otherwise, it will send you a copy and will not make the changes in place. So if I run this now, and now open position df, you can see that all those extraneous columns are deleted and they've got a nice looking data frame. Okay, and if the length of position is not greater than 0, which means it is equal to 0, then position df would be a blank data frame. And then finally, we will return position df. Alright, so this is the function that we are going to use to get positions. Now the last thing that we need is to get order information, because you need to be cognizant of what open orders or what pending orders are out there awaiting execution. So to do that, let's go back to your documentation, and then that would be orders underscore get. Again, a very similar kind of an API. You can see that, the function is orders underscore get. By default, you get all the active orders. But if you want to get orders for a specific symbol, you can actually provide that as an argument. So let's quickly do that. Again, fairly straightforward. So let me copy the whole thing, as we'll have to make a few changes only. And then here, let me call it get orders. This would be orders underscore get. And let me call this orders. Alright, so if I run this line of code, let's see what we get. So you can see that we have got the ordered tuple. And in this case, I only have one active order. If you see here, everything else is executed. I only have one open order. Alright, so this is what we have here. So now let me change the name of this to order df. And then this would be orders. And just like before, we will get the column name from the first element of the tuple. In this case, there's only one element in your tuple, so that's fine. But this is how we are going to get the order data frame. Sorry, this will also have to be changed. If length of orders is greater than 0, then do all this. So let's see how the order data frame is looking right now. You can see that we've got a data frame. It only has one row, but we have all the columns that we need. There's a time setup, MSC, and then there are a few more. So first, let's handle the time underscore setup. So order df time setup is equal to toDate time setup. Let's run this. And now the time should be in the format that you want. That's great. Alright, just like before, you may want to drop any columns that you feel you don't need. So I leave that to you. So just be mindful of the column name. So let me remove this. I don't want to delete it, but if you want, you can just select whatever columns you want and you can drop them. Alright, and let me quickly change the name of the variables, order df and order df. Alright, so this function will get us all the active orders in a data frame. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks a lot. Hello friends. So now I think we have a fairly good understanding about MT5's order API. The only thing that still needs to be explored is how to use the MT5 API to modify existing orders. And when would you want to modify an order? The first criteria, of course, has to be that the order needs to be in a pending state, meaning it should still not be executed. So for example, if you have placed a limit order and the limit price has still not been triggered, then you should be able to change parameters like order volume or order price, etc. for that particular order. However, even for trades which have been executed, you should still be able to modify something. So for example, a few lecture videos back, we saw how we can place bracket orders. So in bracket orders, you have a stop loss and a take profit trigger which has still not been met. So even though that trade may have been executed and you now have a position, you should still be able to modify parameters like stop loss and take profit from that particular position. It's no longer an open order, but a position. But because these things are still not triggered, we should be able to update them. Alright, so in this lecture video, that's precisely what we are going to see. So let me first take you to the documentation page. Alright, so we are at the order send page. And once again, let's go to trade request actions, because this is the most important command within the order API, because it determines what kind of action you are trying to perform. So we have seen trade action deal, trade action pending, which is for placing market and limit order. Now the next two are the ones that we are going to see in this lecture video. Trade action SLTP, change open position, stop loss and take profit, and trade action modify, change parameters of a previously placed trading order. And this order needs to be unexecuted or open. So that's very important. Alright, so let us first test this trade action SLTP. Again, the documentation is a bit sketchy and lack details about how to use these commands. I have used trade action SLTP before, so I have a fairly good understanding how to use that. With trade action modify, we are kind of running blind, but in this lecture video, we'll try to experiment, and I don't think it should be that difficult to get this working. Okay, so let's first see how we can use the trade action SLTP trade request actions. Alright, so let me first place some bracket orders. Alright, and now I can use either place bracket order or place bracket order pip. Let me use place bracket order pip because I don't want to look at the existing price and then figure out the stop loss and take profit level. I can simply give pip in this function and get done with it. So let me quickly place this order. Request executed. Great. And now let me also do it for USD CAD. Let me buy this time. Oops, sorry, USD CAD. Okay, so I have the two positions. You can see these here. So the idea is that I'm going to edit stop loss and take profit for one of these positions. Let us do it for USD CAD. So look at the stop loss and take profit right now, 1.3360 and 1.3420. We'll try to update it. Okay, so first of all, let us create a function, define update SLTP position or something like that. And here we will have to pass the position, the actual position. So in this case, I would want to pass this position. So in the previous lecture video, we saw how to get position data frame. So we would need that here as well. So let me copy this function, paste it in the code that we are using right now, and get our position data frame as well. Alright, so position df is equal to get position df. Okay, I'll have to import PD. Alright, so now this is my position data frame. Looks great. So the idea is that I'll access this data frame, get the position ticket for whichever symbol that I'm interested in, and then update it. Alright, so that is what I'm going to do. Alright, so first things first, we would need some kind of a request dictionary. So let me copy one of these request dictionaries and let me paste it here. The rest of the things can come back later. So action in this case would be trade action SLTP. If I recall from the documentation, let's double check it. Trade action SLTP. We might or might not need the symbol, because if we are passing the position, maybe let's keep the symbol. Let's see if we get an error, we'll remove it. Volume you can't change anymore because it's a position. Type, I don't care about all this, so let me remove it. Yeah, stop loss and take profit would definitely have to be in this dictionary. And then price, type, time, I don't really need it. Alright, so this should be it. I think the only other thing that I'll need to add here is the position. And once again, I have previously seen this key value pair, so I know it is position. And I had to refer to the original MQL5 documentation or manual, whatever you want to call it, which you can download from their website. Alright, so this position would be POS, whatever we are going to send to this particular function. Actually, do you want to pass the new SL as well? So SL new and TP new. So in this example, I would use level and not pip. I would expect you to be able to modify it if you require this to be in pip as well. So let me have this as SL new and TP new. We'll provide actual price levels. Now the position that I want to send to this function is nothing but the relevant row from the position data frame. So for example, in this case, position would be position data frame dot iloc, position data frame dot, what's the name of the column? Is it small s symbol or capital S symbol? Small s symbol. So symbol is equal to UST CAD, and I want all the columns. So if I run this, what do I get? Okay, sorry, this should be LOC. I'm using the actual column name and not the index. Sorry about that. Right, so I've got this row here, and it is possible that in your strategy, you may get more than one row. So if that's the case, you may have to come up with a rule that which one you're going to send. So you'd have to be a bit smart about this. Don't be lax with this particular function because it expects one position here. So in this case, I'm going to force it to give me the first row. Alright, so we've got the position. So now, if you want to get the ticket, you can very easily get the ticket from this position by using dot ticket. So if I run this command, I'll get the ticket. So this would be position dot ticket. And for symbol, it would be position dot symbol. So that should be it. This should help us update the stop loss and take profit. Let's not forget to send this request. So let me copy it from the above function and paste it here. Let us now test this. So this is my completed function. Let me run this for POS, this line. Let us first ensure that the stop loss and take profit has still not been triggered. Okay, it looks like they have not yet been triggered, so that's good. So now if I run this, let's see what happens. Of course, sorry about that. So now I will have to look at the stop loss and take profit. So 1.336, let me make it 1.326. So 1.326, and let me make this 1.3430. 1.3430. Now if I run this, let's see what happens. This doesn't look good. I would expect to get some kind of a message. Okay, I think this position needs to be an integer. Right now this position is a string. So let us hard code this to be an integer. I think this is mentioned in the documentation. Just double check it. Let me rerun the function and now run this. Success. Let us check in the terminal. 1.326 and 1.343. Alright, so this is the update, stop loss and take profit position function. Likewise, we'll create and update open order function. So let me call it modify open order, and this time we will have to give an order information and then the volume and new price information, whatever you want to change. So by default, let me make both of these as none. Price is equal to none. Why do I have this here? Let me put it above this function. To implement this, I'll first have to create some open orders. So for that, let me get the market limit order function. Place limit order. Let me copy this and paste it in this code. I will share all these codes with you, so don't worry about it. Alright, so let me run this function. Place limit order. Let's place a couple. So symbol, USD CAD, volume 1.0 by 40 pips away. Okay, let me run this. Okay, request executed. We have an open order. Likewise, let me also place an order for Euro USD 1 by, once again, 40 pips away. Okay, so now we have two open orders. The idea is that I'll update one of these. So once again, just like we had the get position data frame function, let us import the get orders data frame as well, because we will have to send one of the rows to update it. So get order df orders is equal to get order df. Okay, I would expect this to have two rows. Okay, I have not yet defined it. Okay, let me define it and then run it. Okay, what's going on? Oh, get orders df. Alright, so you have orders having these two orders. So once again, I think we'll have to send that order ticket to update it. So let's try, although I've never done it. Let's give it a good shot. So order is equal to, let me copy that command that I created to get the row from position data frame. I'll do the same for order. So order is equal to orders.lock, orders.symbol is equal to USD CAD. Let us update USD CAD this time. iLock 0. So this is my order. So now let me copy the request dictionary from the previous function and copy paste here. I would want to make the minimum number of changes to get this working. So action would be modify. Trade action, modify. Symbol, let's have it. This position would definitely change. The name would be something else. This one would be order. Let me try my luck. Let me make it order. And in this case, let us update the volume. Alright, so that would be vol. Actually, this would be a bit tricky because if I send none, I don't really know what is going to be updated. Let me just make this function very specific for changing volume. I'll change other things and make it more flexible if we get this working, but let me make sure that this thing works. Right, so let me remove this and let us try this. So F9, let us try to test it. So this would be order and then volume, let's go with 2.0. Okay, let's run it and see what happens. Invalid price. Looks like price is also a requirement. Okay, let me try something. Instead of volume, let's have price here. Right, so for USD CAD, what's the price that we have? 1.33494. So let's make it 1.3350. Let's run this now and see if our luck is any better. Request executed. Amazing. So we have 1.335 here. I'm trying to also change the volume. Is that possible? Let me push my luck. Now that I'm providing the price, can I also do it with volume? So volume 2. So let me make this 1.3355 and then volume would be 2.0. Let's see if this works. No, it doesn't. Okay, so it looks like it only allows us to modify the price. I will try to look at the documentation and see if we can modify the volume or not. If I do get a positive outcome, I will include this in the code that I upload. But I also encourage you to explore if you can update volume or not in the meantime. But we can definitely update the price, as you can see. Alright, so in your strategy, you may have to update pending orders or stop loss and take profit of positions. So it's very important that you understand how it is done. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks a lot.